Each day there's adventure, always something new. And the team that dreams tomorrow up is Legoland in you.
In my last video, we visited the pastel-colored, gender-stereotype suburban wasteland that is the LEGO Friends theme. We also took a tour of LEGO's ridiculous and slightly hilarious attempts to market to girls in the past several decades. So if you haven't watched that one, go ahead and check it out before continuing on to this one. It's no secret that LEGO's Clubhouse is currently designed and marketed primarily for boys.
There are very few toy brands as ubiquitous as LEGO. And yet research shows LEGO only clicks with about half of all children. The male half.
Look at mine, Mommy!
Since 2005, LEGO has embraced that, marketing almost exclusively to little boys.
And it's been giving boys a boost in the world. LEGO Play has been attributed with accelerating boys' development. Research shows it helps fine-tune spatial and math skills.
How did the company shift from their initial, relatively gender-neutral universal building experience to a more male-dominated one? Well, it wasn't by accident. The LEGO Group intentionally did this in 3 ways. Number 1, marketing exclusively to boys. LEGO has been intentionally designing, creating, and marketing almost the entire LEGO universe specifically and exclusively to boys since at least the mid-1980s. First, let's take a quick look at the history of LEGO's marketing before this gendered shift occurred. LEGO can be traced back to the early 1930s, but started producing their interlocking plastic bricks in 1949.
LEGO, a whole new world to build.
This young girl had such fun. She used Lego one by one with a knick-knack, paddywhack, built a house of grand. This young girl's a Lego fan.
LEGO focused on marketing their products with a strong emphasis on creative play, cooperation, and imagination for the next 3 decades, in a relatively universal way to children of all genders, even as something families can do together. By the mid-80s, however, girls had all but disappeared, and LEGO was marketing almost exclusively to boys. Some of you might remember Zach, you know, the Lego maniac.
I know a boy, his name is Zach. His microchips are out of whack. He built a Blacktron Cadillac. He's Zach, the Lego maniac. He sent his cosmic fleet to Mars. He's out there cruising with the stars. His mind is lost in outer space. A cosmonaut. Earth calling Zach. Hey, Zach, come down.
Zach became the official LEGO mascot. He embodied the LEGO experience and helped to identify the brand with boys' play. Boys continued to dominate LEGO's marketing for the next 2 decades.
Once upon a time, a boy discovered a magic castle. Inside was a bat lord and his knights, a witch, and the smell of rotting bones. It was time to go, and the boy tried to escape, but the witch insisted he stay for dinner. Legomania.
Yeah.
Pistons that pump, gears that'll get you going, motors that muscle, and blades that'll blow you away. Technically speaking, it'll turn you on.
In 2011, LEGO made sure to drive home the point that Legos are for boys with their Build Together marketing campaign.
Ah, the father and son road trip. Just a little imagination and you're good to go.
It's been said that a man's home is his castle, and truer words were never spoken when that home is in the hands of this father and son team. Well done, gentlemen. Well done indeed.
Each ad revolves around fathers and sons collaborating on imaginative LEGO creations. You'll notice there are no grandmothers, mothers, daughters, or sisters building together. Number 2, producing male-identified and male-centered themes and sets. Over the next couple of decades, but especially in the late 90s and early 2000s, LEGO began creating and producing more sets that were intentionally male-identified and male-centered. To reinforce that Legos are specifically for boys, LEGO made their products male-centered by populating their sets and themes with male minifigures. Male-centered means that the focus of attention is on men, their stories, and what they do. In terms of LEGO, this refers to their shift from their original, less gendered minifigures to sets and themes dominated by male characters, moving away from the 2 dots and a smiley face to frowns, sneers, and facial hair. On the rare occasion when women do appear, they're sporting bright red lipstick, curves, and cleavage. The lack of female minifigures in the LEGO universe is staggering. Conservative estimates reveal that the ratio of unique male-identified minifigures to unique identified female minifigures is 18:1. The minifigure gender disparity only got worse when LEGO started making sets based on movie franchises, such as Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Pirates of the Caribbean. Because those films are male-centered and male-identified, not surprisingly, the themes and sets based on them are also male-centered and male-identified. Out of the 250 plus unique minifigures in the Star Wars sets, for instance, you can count the number of women on your fingers. This positions boys and masculinity as the default for the LEGO universe.
Who can help us?
ADU is here! Step aside, ma'am. Let the ADU take over. Go get 'em, boys!
Number 3. Focusing on stereotypical boys' play scenarios with an emphasis on combat. Remember that whole creativity and imagination thing?
You can build this transport pretending you're on Mars. The box shows ways to change it by snapping off the cars. You can snap them back together and get a scouting craft, or match them with the lasers for a base defender craft. You can make up something wild, supercharged and new. The sky's the limit when the team is Legoland and you.
That was back in 1985. Let's check in on what's happening in contemporary LEGO themes.
Ready your weapons and get ready.
You control the battle. Transform to attack mode.
Prepare for battle.
Arm the rockets.
Arm the weapons. Load the missile.
You can load the bombs. Man the cannons. Load the rockets. Arm the missiles. Prepare the torpedoes.
And fight back.
Fire the cannon.
Fire the mighty catapult. Fire.
Fire the missile.
And attack.
While LEGO Group itself has admitted that they have prioritized catering to boys, this has notably shifted their marketing and product design to be less about LEGO's educational benefits, such as fostering creativity and imagination, to more about combat, aggression, conflict, and competition scenarios, which feel a lot more like G.I. Joe than they do the LEGO of yesteryear. Even in the popular city theme, we've started to see these conflict elements take center stage, with the addition of the cops and robbers sub-theme over the last couple of years. It's not that women and girls aren't interested in combat-based play. Aggression and competition are, of course, possible human behaviors for people of all genders. In our current patriarchal society, however, traits associated with men and masculinity are more highly valued, even ones that aren't exactly the most socially beneficial.
Rebuild your spinner and win the fight.
But what about my sister? We're saving a girl? Is she hot?
Become the master of spinjitzu.
In this case, LEGO has strongly emphasized combat and violent conflict in order to market to boys. This marketing choice has a further consequence of limiting boys because they miss out on toys that help develop cooperation, relationship building, nurturing, and caregiving. Now let's bring all of this back to the new LEGO's for girls. While the entire concept of marketing of the Friends theme is deeply problematic, it's not without some small merits. The emphasis on sharing, cooperation, and nurturing are values I would love to see infused in toys for children of all genders. Even the title of Friends draws attention to the importance of relationship building. However, these values are almost exclusively found in media and toys for girls and are wrapped up in harmful gender stereotypes. Meanwhile, these positive values are almost entirely absent in toys aimed at boys. The repercussions of this can be grave, relegating the responsibility for fostering healthy relationships and communications on women, and simultaneously reinforcing to boys and men that using violence is a practical option for solving conflicts, even interpersonal ones. Once LEGO had doubled down on gendering all their products as for boys, they were backed into a corner where they were forced to create a distinct and separate for girls collection. LEGO Friends is clearly marked as not for boys, which de facto reinforces that the rest of the LEGO universe is for boys and for boys alone. If we look at the language in the advertising for the sets marketed to boys, they are encouraged to actively participate in the building as a core part of the story.
You can build the huge helicopter. You can build the massive clone turbo tank. You can build the Batmobile.
You can build the dino truck.
You can build the rocket.
You can build the King's Castle.
But in the LEGO Friends marketing, the construction is not central to the narrative being sold.
Drive by Olivia's house, past the vet with all the pets, to the newly built cafe. We're here. Let's all help out. Make burgers, shakes, bake the cupcakes.
See how things have been built but the action is not attributed to anyone? The minifigs just show up at the newly built cafe. And the playtime is supposed to happen after the building is complete. Unlike in the other commercials where boys are encouraged to actively build and construct as a part of their LEGO experience. Now, to the credit of girls and women, many of us have stubbornly continued to like the classic sets, despite LEGO's best efforts to ignore us and kick us out of the LEGO clubhouse. So LEGO spent 4 years and millions of dollars to research the desires of girls to create another Barbie wasteland, and continues to ignore the fact that they already have a potentially great product for girls. It's called LEGO. Or it used to be. LEGO's logic surrounding giving girls what they want sounds an awful lot like self-fulfilling marketing. As Lisa Wade pointed out on the Ms. blog, executives are going to great lengths to explain that the line is based on research. This frame gives the company an excuse for reproducing the same old gender stereotypes that we see throughout our culture. In this way, they're trying to make it clear that they shouldn't be held accountable for the messages their products send. The real takeaway from LEGO's research is that the literally billions of dollars that the media and toy companies spent over the last couple of decades on aggressively gendered marketing and gender stereotyping has worked. We see fewer commercials with boys and girls playing together, and more products that segregate boys and girls into different categories of people, each with very rigid and limiting ideas of what roles are appropriate. All this marketing is inescapable, and young people and adults alike internalize these deeply harmful and limiting messages. Although we don't want to believe it, the truth of it is that advertising works to manipulate us, and it works really well, or else corporations wouldn't do it. What LEGO should have done if they were serious about expanding the LEGO universe to include girls is to actually include them in a meaningful way, not segregate and separate them into their own pink enclave. In the future, here are 2 suggestions that LEGO can use as a starting point to think about producing and marketing new products. First, they've got to integrate more female minifig characters into their themes and make them the focus of those sets. Then they've got to completely drop this ladyfig doll thing from the entire LEGO universe. Secondly, LEGO needs to go back to the drawing board and create products that foster creativity and imagination that children of all genders will adore. They can start by de-emphasizing the macho testosterone and the combat, and create universally appealing sets that include occupations and adventure scenarios for children of all genders. LEGO can look to their own specialized creator collection, which includes sets that are more reminiscent of the original LEGO building experience. These sets even come with 3 different instruction guides, which help to encourage builders to think about the bricks as remixable elements, to be taken apart, hacked, and rebuilt again in different ways. Unfortunately, the creator line is not prioritized within the LEGO universe. This ad campaign from the early 1980s has been passed around online quite a bit. Not only because it strongly emphasized the confidence-building benefits of creative play, but it did so without exploiting gender stereotypes. And remarkably, it didn't prioritize boys over girls. This ad in particular features a young girl proudly displaying her new LEGO creation with the text, "What it is beautiful." And in fact, it is beautiful to feature a young girl who is unconstrained by regressive notions of gender. In addition to being critical of gender stereotyping, we ought to be consciously critical of the values being promoted in children's toys. And let's be honest, toys that promote sharing and cooperation, creativity, and imagination are probably a better educational experience for raising healthy, well-developed kids than a constant focus on blowing stuff up and shooting people. Between the creator sets and this ad campaign, it's clear LEGO already knows how to create an inclusive, universal play experience that children of all genders can participate in. So the next step is to actually do it across the entire LEGO universe. I hope you enjoyed that video. It was probably my most ambitious project to date and took an enormous amount of time to put together. Please help keep Feminist Frequency going by donating today. You can visit feministfrequency.com/donate.